Hey, what's up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be going over the YCS from this past weekend, YCS Bologna. So we have the top cut pie graph right here. So at a top 64, there are a lot of unknown decks because EU doesn't really, it's not really good with data. It's not as good as NA anyway. But what we see here, we see 9 Dracotail, 6 Vanquish Soul, 5 Mitsurugi, 4 Malice, 5 Mitsurugi Pure, 2 Yummy, 2 Pure Yummies, and like 1 White Force, 1 Memento, and 1 Gem Knight. And so obviously Vanquish Soul came out and won the YCS. And the big thing this weekend was Dracotail was the deck to beat. It was the most played deck in Top Cut. So as a result, or in Swiss, sorry. So as a result, Vanquish Soul saw a ton of play because Vanquish Soul does have a pretty solid Dracotail matchup, and the meta kind of focused around that. People realized Dracotail is really good, so like, okay, what can we play to beat Dracotail? That's why people played Vanquish Soul K9, and Vanquish Soul K9 it did end up winning the event, so I think it was a pretty decent meta call. I'm not sure if I would have played it personally, but I'll get that into the reasons when I go over the deck list. And then in the finals, it beat Pure Yummy, which is also a okay meta call. But going over the deck list, here's the first place deck list. The winner was Pierre Burgals. He played Vanquish Soul K9. It looks like a pretty standard list for the most part. He's playing, pretty standard in the main deck. 3Ks, 1 Tactics. Not 100% sure how I feel about Tactics. I don't really think it's amazing going second against the Dracotail deck, but it's something. But yeah, the list is mostly standard for the main deck, at least for the extra deck. He's playing K9 Jax, no Tiras, Double Ripper. Yeah, outside of that, it seems pretty chill. I will say he's maining 2 Lupus and then siding the 3rd Lupus. And then he's also siding the Shifter. So choosing the side the Shifter instead of maining it. I know some people are maining it, some people are siding it. He's choosing the side the Shifter, trying to respect the other matchups a bit more by not including it in the main deck. Siding Little Charmies. Perolio is a big card this weekend because obviously K9 decks saw a lot more play. So Perolio is the best hand trap against Vanquish Soul. Let's be real, right? So having these cards to the matchup is nice. Meowth is gonna be for Mitsurugi, etc. Of Gravekeeper's Inscription. Before I made a video saying Gravekeeper's Inscription wasn't that great, the format was basically different then. That was when Mitsurugi was the most played deck, but now that Dracotail is the most played deck, it's pretty decent. Although I do potentially expect the card to not really see play in the future because the format's probably going to change a bunch. Less people are going to play Dracotail, so yeah. And then the 1 Tikaboo in the side deck. But yeah, pretty standard list, nothing too crazy. The deck just has a solid Dracotail matchup. No Prosperity. That's one thing they mentioned as well. I don't really agree with that. I feel like I would play Prosperity somewhere in my 55. Moving on to the second place deck list. The player was Alessandro Boniolo. I probably pronounced that wrong, my bad. He played Pure Yummy. Pure Yummy also wasn't a terrible call. So looking at the main deck, he played a Sky Striker package, but a small one. How much non-engine did he play? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 non-engine. That's a lot. 22 non-engine. Main deck Droll, I'm a bit surprised about that, but at the same time, it's he probably wanted it for the Vanquish Soul decks, for the K9 decks rather, so understandable. For the extra deck, he's playing Pure Yummy with no Star Am. But he's playing Azalea. Okay. Playing Azalea, Typhon. For the side deck, Lancia. I mean, people respecting Malice makes sense. Malice, pretty strong deck. He's also siding Inscription. So see, this weekend, Dracotail was the deck to beat. So playing Inscription was pretty decent. But I think that's going to change post this weekend. And then siding the Solemn Judgment, siding the Anti-Spell. Anti-Spell, a bit of an inconsistent card, but it works out. So yeah, congrats to him. Now let's look at the top 4 list. This is K9 Mitsurugi. This weekend was a bunch of different decks were actually decent picks. K9 Mitsu, the matchup for Dracotail is actually pretty decent, so we're gonna go over that in a second. K9 Mitsu is playing the full K9 package. 2 Yokel, which makes sense actually why he's playing 2 Yokel, because Yokel does not really the Mitsu cards don't really give you level 5s, right? So he doesn't really feel like Yokel's not the best job, but you probably want 2 for at least your deck to function. Whereas Azuna is solid by itself, Naroi is solid by itself, so I can understand that. He's not playing the 7th Tachyon bridge, which interesting. I haven't really tested the deck myself, honestly, so I don't know if it's correct or not, but something to note. And then yeah, for the side deck, siding the Perulia like I showed before, siding Dimensional Fissure. Die-Fi is going to be like obviously like insane against Dracotail. He's also siding Shifter. Obviously, Shifter also is really good against Dracotail. Imperm, Imperm really, I mean, playable in Dracotail, but also against like the K9 decks, it's really good against that. So you want that as well. Like the Mocharmies, Lancia, you know, pretty solid list, I would say. Droll. Droll is a little bit like better in this deck than it would be normally, because if you go first and you get like Fluid, you can go Durendal and like hand loop your opponent, so it has that added utility as well. But yeah, now let's look at top 8 YCS Bologna branded Dracotail from Danilo Siracusa. He played Dracotail, so starting off, he did not play the Fallen and the Virtuous. I watched the deck profile, he just wanted more like hand traps to respect some of like the FDK decks, like Vanquish Soul K9. So he decided to play 2 Bajrol in that spot instead, which if you're expecting a lot of Vanquish Soul K9, that does make sense, obviously. Well, at least going second. Going first, the Fallen of the Virtuous is actually pretty good in the matchup. Being able to deal with Zuna very well and deal with some Holy Su setups decently. But yeah. But yeah, he played 3 Urgula, 2 Pan in the main. Obviously, Urgula is better against the mirror match for sure when you go second, so that's understandable. It's better when you go, better to the draw when you're playing turn 1, to be honest. 3 traps still. Yeah, Seals in the extra deck. For the side deck, he's siding Prosperity, siding Cartesia, no Fenrir. But then siding the Perulia, and he's siding Imperm. Imperm over Valor, because Imperm's going to be infinitely better against the K9 decks, which were expected a lot of this weekend, so it makes sense to respect them. And yeah. Next up, we have top 16 from Yugioh. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but this is Boscoto on DB, so congrats to him. I'm pretty sure it is, at least. The YouTube video said so. But yeah, so anywho, he played Branded Lunalight. So he played Branded Fusion, and he played Fallen of the Virtuous. So basically, Branded Fusion is a pseudo starter in this deck, because you can send any Dark. So you can send like Hound to the graveyard, or you can send like Emerald Bird or Martin or whatever. So it's pretty flexible what it can do. Well, relatively flexible anyway. And then he played Rinbrum, because you can summon Rinbrum, because all your guys are beast warriors, right? The Dragment devours the Dogma and the Albion. It's pretty cute, I will say. It's pretty cute. I don't know if it's amazing. I mean, it's probably a little bit better than Foolish Barrel is right now. I will say that. It does give you a bit more flexibility on like Lancia too. It's cute. It's definitely something I'm going to mess around with. And in the side deck, we see like Perulia. Everyone's signing Perulia. They know K9s want to see a lot of play. They're respecting the K9 decks. Meows is respecting like Malice / Mitsuyumi. And yeah. Now we have Mitsuyumi. Speaking of Mitsuyumi, top 16, which was once the most expected deck, is now like a second option. But yeah, anyhow, this is Mitsuyumi. The player was Philip Wedeneiger. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry. He played Mitsuyumi. Looks like a mostly standard list. He did play the big package, the Aramasa, the Kutsu, and the Futsu, or Kusanagi and the Futsu, in the main deck. Choosing not to play the small package, which did better in A. He played Joel in the main deck. Okay. We see the side deck, Brutality C, Double Cyclone. We haven't really seen Double Cyclone in too many lists right now, but also keep in mind a lot of these decks also can't really play it. Like for example, these decks like can't really like, well, you could arguably play it in this deck, but this deck can't play Double Cyclone. No, this deck could potentially, but side deck space might be tight. But yeah, like this deck can't play it. This deck can't play it. So even though I think Double Cyclone is really good against Dracotail, like not that many decks can play it. So. Retaliating C, Imperm in the side deck. I mean, like I said, Imperm hits Dracotail, also hits the K9 decks. And the Beer for the mirror match in Malice. And yeah, side extra deck, he's playing Starham. There's a cool Starham combo where you can like, if you open like, you could basically like play around Droll by making Arclight before you search. It's a bit risky to like other hand traps, but it's pretty cool. And then in some scenarios where it's like Nib, it can help as well. But yeah. Good job, him. Now, we have Malice list, top 32, Leonardo Sacchetti. So we play Malice. Looks like you chose to play the alert version, no board breakers. 5 Bestials in the main deck, 1 Sarnier instead of the Baldrake. I would probably play third Baldrake to be honest, but you know, I feel you. 3 March Hare, Joel in the main deck. Okay, TB11. Does he side GWC? He does not. Okay, I don't think you need to 3 traps total. For the side deck, Lancia, Valor, Bell, Imper, Mistaken Arrest, Call by. So Mistaken Arrest is pretty cool. It's not really good against Dracotail, but against the other decks, you know, it puts in work, I guess. Potentially puts in work. Fighting all the hand traps. All the hand traps. How many hand traps do you play in the main deck? 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. Also, not citing Di-Fi, pretty interesting. I feel like Di-Fi was one of the reasons to play Malice, so I was like, I would have played it personally, but you know, to each their own. And then one of the last lists we have Top 64 by Marco Pezzuto. He played Ryzeal Mitsurugi. So Ryzeal Mitsurugi is actually a deck I think is really, really underrated right now. The deck is actually really insane going second into Dracotail because all the Ryzeals trade extremely favorably. It's like Mitsuyumi going second, but instead of the Yumi cards, which are really bad going second into the board, the Ryzeal cards are absolutely insane going second into the board. You need to issue from the deck. Number 1, it is kind of bricky, which does feel a bit unfortunate. And number 2, I feel like the going first for the deck is actually not very good. Like, the Dracotail matchup is good, but it's mainly good when you go second. Low-key, when you go first, it's not even that good. Because the half board you set up, the disruptions the Ryzeal cards get you are very, very bad into Dracotail. Like, for example, Cross plus, like, Detonator loses to, like, Ketsu Rahu plus a name. Like, you usually get cooked. So I think the deck has some, like, variance issues. But I think the deck's really underrated still, though. Really, really solid. So yeah, no Star Ryzeal, double 7th, not playing the Manju, playing the Shadow Dragon, 38. I don't think you need 38 to be honest, but I mean it's an option. Side deck, no Perulia, but he's playing the Droll in the main, Bell in the main deck. How much on Ninja is the main? 1, 2, 3, 4, 15, 16. Okay, not bad. Let's keep in mind versus Dracotail, you don't even need to open non-engine to win. I'm not gonna cap. But even like normal summon sword isn't even bad into the board by the way. Which is like crazy, right? But yeah. And then yeah, really standard. But yeah, anywho, that is it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. And what do you think about the format? You know, what do you think about the YCS? Are you surprised about Vanquish Soul doing well? Do you think like another deck should have won instead? Let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, I hope you have a great day. Peace.